Hello, I'm David DeCosmo. Welcome to ECTV Live. I'm joined today by Tom Fritz, and we are going to talk about one of Scranton's major attractions every year at this time, and that, of course, is the Santa Parade. And Tom, you are what, chief cook and bottle washer? What's the?
Oh, I'm not chief cook and bottle washer.
No.
But I am the mouth.
Okay.
and today I'm the face. Usually I'm just the mouth.
All right.
I'm in charge of our marketing and our PR, so I'm the guy who gets out there and lets everybody know that it's Christmas time again.
Excuse me.
We know Santa's coming, and we are the people who bring Santa to downtown Scranton. Without us, it doesn't happen.
And this parade is just super. Very large, very colorful, and a lot of work to put together, which is where a lot of volunteers come in.
We do have a lot of volunteers, and this is a volunteer organization that goes year-round, but we still do need volunteers for parade day. So if you're looking to get involved with the parade, you can still get in with us. You can go to either our website at santaparade.net or our Facebook page at Facebook/The Santa Parade, and you'll find us there. There's a volunteer section on both pages that you can get to. And we always need people for parade day.
Well, now, one of the reasons that you have needed volunteers, and there's always plenty of work to do, but it's fun work being involved with the parade. But one of the reasons you needed volunteers in the past has been to hold on to those giant helium balloons that have been featured in, of course, your parade, and obviously the parades in New York City and Chicago and Philadelphia. We've seen over the past few years, and you were the first to tell us about it, a major change in that there are still balloons, but they're not so much helium balloons anymore.
We're starting to make the transition because helium is actually becoming harder and harder to come by, especially for recreational things. It is used in MRI cooling systems, so those get priority over balloons. So we are almost all the way through our transition into cold air balloons. We've been featuring cold air balloons mostly around the square, and I'm sure that when you've been down to the parade, you've seen them. They're giant. They're really nice.
They're still huge.
They are just as nice as the helium balloons, but they're going to be down at ground level. And the good part about that is every place other than the square, there's wires, so we can't fly them high anywhere. So you'll get a really good look at them. They'll be down at ground level.
These now, they're inflated by a compressor. You fill them. You just keep shooting cool air into them.
Yes, it is. We'll call it a steroidal version of the kind that you put in your front yard.
Okay,
These are bigger, heavier, more colorful, more complex, and we put them through the parade that way, and they are constantly getting air through the parade.
Now, where do they come from?
We work with Starbound Entertainment, we have for many years, and that's where we're getting our balloons because they saw the need to go into this even before they told us, and we started letting the word out. So they've got a complement of balloons that they've got for this purpose, and it's going to be more and more what you see, at least in the local parades. You know, the big national ones like Macy's are probably still going to have their helium. And one of the things that they do is they reclaim all the helium with theirs. They have a special setup so that they can grab all that back. So.
Kind of an expensive proposition, however you look at it.
It is an expensive proposition, and not just the availability, but the expense of that helium is getting to be a little bit more than we can handle.
But you're able to have some pretty darn impressive balloons nonetheless, and every year there's a lot of them that change.
Every year we get different balloons. Some of them come back because, we are a Christmas parade. So, there are certain themed balloons that we like to have, and then certain other character balloons that we like, whatever's in or whatever fits our streets. Because there are some balloons that, you see for Macy's, and that's not going to fit down the streets of Scranton. It's just one of those things that we pick from ones that fit down our streets, but we get different characters every year. So every year there might be one or two favorites that you like to see every year, but there's also going to be some different ones.
When is the parade this year?
Parade this year, Saturday, November 23rd. It's always the Saturday before Thanksgiving because we know Black Friday starts the shopping season.
Right.
So we got to officially bring Santa down before that happens.
He's got to be ready to be here.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just the Saturday before. Some people say we start too early, but it's the Saturday before the big shopping starts. So we got to get him in here.
Yeah. Have you ever done any kind of calculations as to how many people come downtown to see that parade?
It does depend on our weather, and we always cross our
yeah.
fingers. And there have been few times where our weather has been better than the weather for the other parade that we won't say anything about. And on a good day where we have some beautiful weather, we'll get more than 40,000 people in downtown Scranton.
Wow.
And it's one of those things where it can be huge. And we're keeping the same route as we've had the last few years. It's a great route. Takes us 3/4 of the way around the square.
Where do you start?
We start at the corner of Spruce and Franklin. That's where the parade comes together. We take it up Spruce Street and we make a left going the wrong way onto Washington. And then we go clockwise around the square and it stops on Adams and Spruce again.
Just above the square then.
Just
yeah.
above the
Yeah.
square. One of the things that's new for this year is that the very first block between Franklin and Penn Avenue on Spruce Street, we're setting that up for people who have sensitivities to all that goes on in the parade, so that the people who have a sensitivity to the noises and the lights and the sounds and that. So the first block of the parade is going to be a little bit more quiet than our parade normally is. And then starting at Penn Avenue, it's going to light up the way it normally does.
For instance, someone who may have a problem with autism and,
Yes.
and can't handle all that sound and light and everything coming at one time, this way they can still enjoy.
Come down and enjoy the parade. And we'll be letting people know that on parade day, so if your spot is right there, we'll let you know so that you don't get caught unaware.
Yeah, what a great consideration, though, for those with some special needs. You want to include them.
And that's what happened. During the year, we got more than a couple of contacts, and then we got contacted by an organization that works with several other organizations who have people who have those sensitivities, and they talked to us. They said, we really like to bring the kids to the parades, but we either, we keep them so far off the street so that they, they're not bothered by the bands or the sirens or anything like that. Is there a way that we can get them? We've got a long parade.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to see that parade around the square.
That's
So
sort
we
of the
can
main gathering area.
Right, that is
yeah.
the main gathering. In fact, if you want to see all the bands, and we're trying to get more bands into the parade, both marching bands and other band and singing units into the parade. You want to see all of that and all the lights and sounds and everything, you want to see it around the square. But if you have a sensitivity, that first block between Franklin and Penn, you'll still see the parade. Everyone will still go through. There'll still be candy. And that's where you can see the parade at a lighter level.
Yeah, it's a great option. I'm so glad that your organization decided to include that. I'm seeing more and more efforts along those lines to be inclusive for others, and it's a good, as you say, it's a long parade route, plenty of other areas where you can enjoy the lights and the sound and all the commotion.
Exactly, and whether or not you are bothered by those lights and sounds, you still want to see Santa.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's why we're doing it.
Sure. And keep in mind, that is what this is called. It's called the Santa Parade.
Yes, that's what it's all about.
Not called the Thanksgiving Parade. It's not even called the Christmas Parade. It's called the Santa Parade, and this is his big spotlight moment to arrive. In this case, in the city of Scranton. He obviously has lots of stops, but this is one of his main ones, is it not?
That's for sure. We are one of the bigger Santa parades in this part of the country. A lot of people will go out to New York for Thanksgiving, for Macy's parade out there, and it's worth going to.
No, sure.
But come to ours first.
Yeah. You get a chance to get the sort of weaned into the other.
You'll get all warmed up. You'll get some candy for energy.
Excuse me.
And you can get right into the parade for Thanksgiving.
What's in store for us in terms of the parade itself this year?
This year, we've got our tried and true favorites, people who have been with us for many, many years. And every year we try to get bigger, better, much, much more. We try to include more entertainment groups. Now, we do have our community groups.
Let me
that
do a
walk
little
into
show
our
and tell.
parade.
You do have a couple
All right, we do
photos
have-
here.
First, we'll show you some.
Oh my goodness!
These are representative of the cold air type balloons.
This is a cold air balloon.
Yes.
Well, they seem to be making them much larger than they used to. Although,
And that's what we're saying, is that they're going to be just as impressive as the helium balloons.
well, I gather. You see, when I think the cold air balloon, I think, as you indicated, a lot of people using those for Christmas decorations in front of their home, and they're fairly large, but they're not gigantic. Oh, look!
So when these come down the road,
Excuse me. when I laugh, I cough, and when I see some of these, the fun that's involved with these, this is the Smurf, isn't it?
yep. And when you see these coming down the road, they're going to be just as impressive as those helium balloons.
So this is also a cold air balloon that we're
That is
looking at
also a
here.
cold air balloon. And I haven't been given the secret list yet.
Oh, so you're not sure exactly
Now,
like.
these are representative
Yeah.
of what we're going to get, but I don't know the
So
exact list.
some may come back from other years.
Yes, and in fact, this one has been on Courthouse Square. This one
Oh,
we've
I
had,
remember it. Yeah,
we've had this at the parade several times.
the gingerbread house.
Yes. It was featured right next to the Scranton High Chorus last year.
Well, now I guess some of them are even though they're cold air and larger than you'd see in your house. Some of them are more designed to be stationary rather than mobile.
It does depend on the size of them, and as the size goes up, so does the weight. Certain ones do have to remain stationary, while other ones can become mobile.
This is a classic shot.
Yes,
This-
I bring that one every year for two reasons. That's Dave Ragnacci's School of Dance. They had a huge group. That was a beautiful day. That was 3 years ago during the parade. Everybody taking their hats off and waving at the camera at the same time, and I took the picture. So that's why I bring that one.
Well, that is a good. Boy, we can only keep our fingers crossed for the same kind of weather.
Just look at that sky in that picture.
Yeah.
It was crystal clear.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful day. Obviously, everybody in that picture just wearing a sweatshirt. That's a great day for a Santa parade right
Yeah,
there.
and you did say you are weather dependent, but you know what? It's a November parade, so one has to understand that we don't get 80 degrees very much. And
you do want to chill in the air. It is Santa that we're looking for.
yeah. 'Cause you don't want him to be overheated.
Exactly.
He's got to wear his traditional suit and such. How many divisions? First of all, what is a division? How do you? measure?
A division is basically just how we break up the parade so that we put like types of groups in each division so we can evenly space everything. Every year we've got 5 divisions. 5th division is always Santa.
Right. Yeah.
And each division we try to get the same amount of marching bands, singing groups, walking groups, and other entertainers in each division. So each division is almost like its own little mini parade.
Yes. Right.
And you will get a lot to see. And a lot of the people who are doing their walking divisions, they bring candy and other giveaways. Then we've got people who play Christmas music, and then we've got other people who perform Christmas music and singers. We get a lot into each division so that you can see the same things over and over again, but different. It's one of those things where we'd like to keep all of the action moving so that you're entertained while you're downtown.
And in a sense, it's almost a juggling act because you don't necessarily want 2 bands coming back to back.
Well, that's part of our fun, is getting to put everybody in, especially when we've got people who have been in the parade many years and they like their spot, and then we get other people who are coming into the parade new. We have to try to fit them in where they all mesh together because, like you said, we can't have 2 bands too close together or they will, walk over each other. You won't be able to hear each one clearly, and we want it to be very entertaining for the people downtown. It is, once again, going to be on WNEP. Their broadcast starts at 9:30. The parade will actually step off around 9:15 so that the parade has time to get up to where their cameras are. Their cameras are going to be on Adams Avenue. And where the Grand Marshal is going to be and where the review tent is going to be is same as last year on the corner of Washington and Spruce.
And who is our Grand Marshal this year?
Our Grand Marshal this year has been waiting for it a long, long time. He's been in the media in this area for at least 25 years, and it's Eric Logan, the prospector from Rock 107.
Yes.
And he's a big part of our parade every year. He's in it every year.
That's great.
And this year, we called him up to the bigs.
That's great.
He got the call to be our Grand Marshal.
That's great. Now, we know that the bands always perform. You know, as they're marching, they perform always on Courthouse Square, because I believe the reviewing stand is set up along the square, is it not?
Yes, actually there's two spots where they will perform. They'll perform at the corner of Washington and Spruce. That's where the Grand Marshal, other VIPs, the Moscow Melodies are going to be performing in between the bands there. That's a great place to watch. And then anywhere around the square, and then also after the turn onto Adams Avenue, right before we get into the area, actually it's right where NEP is,
Right.
that they will perform again for the cameras.
Oh,
right
okay.
there.
Right.
So there's two really good spots to see any of the performing groups.
I mean, a lot of times even they're in their second block and they might be performing and things, but
Yes.
you want to see them in if you want to make sure that you catch them performing, those are two spots.
Those are two spots.
You're definitely going to see it, yeah.
And I know that as we're going through the parade, we encourage every group, whether they're musicians or if they're just playing music or if they're twirlers or dancers, every single time that they stop, to put on a little show. That's what we're all there for.
Sure,
So
sure.
no matter where you are in the parade, you're going to get to see everybody perform.
I would think you are now at the status where it'd be pretty darn hard to bring anybody else new into the parade.
The good thing about that is because of the size we are and the amount of participants we have and the amount of people that we reach, we're actually starting to see other groups from the region, not across the country yet, but from the region reaching out to us to find out if they can get into our parade.
Oh.
That is one of the things that we are going to start looking at as we move from helium. One of the things that we were talking about with helium is that's one of the major costs of our parade. Now we'll still have to rent our balloons for the day, but once we switch to cold air balloons, then the money we raise for the parade, we will be able to bring in some groups that we actually have to pay for to bring in.
Yeah, and while you're on that, let's point out, you folks can come and certainly should come to enjoy the parade. You're going to see color, you're going to have a lot of music, just a lot of fun. The kids are going to find some candy coming over to them from some of the folks coming through the parade. And you come and you do this, and it's all free to you. It's free to you. It's not free to the parade folks. Any idea what it costs to put on a parade like this?
Oh, I pretty much throw the number right at you, but it's more than $25,000 that we put into the parade every year, and that money comes from our sponsors.
So you got to have
and from the
sponsors.
different participants in
Who
the
is
parade.
helping out this year?
Our Santa sponsor is again back this year. That's Jack Williams Tire. They are sponsoring Santa once again this year. They are with us many years now. They are very committed to community events. We do have many other sponsors of different levels, and they all make this parade what it happens.
That money's got to come from somewhere.
Yes.
And even if you're not paying for the helium for those balloons, you're still renting balloons. You said you'd like to get some groups in, and I guess you have to get some groups in that are paid for
Yes.
coming in.
And one of the ones we're looking at a couple of special ones for this year that they're not locked in yet, so I can't really say, but there will be at least a couple special extras this year for the parade. So you want to come down and see it. It's going to be on TV, and we understand that it is very comfortable to watch it from your living room, but this is a community event. It's about coming out and spending it with everybody else who's here and seeing the kids' excited faces when they see Santa come by. And it's just one of those things that you can't see that when it's on television.
No,
now, if you can't be there, watch it on TV. If you can't be there, watch it on TV. But if you can be there, you want to be on TV.
I've been involved in covering parades through the years, and it's one thing on the small screen. You know, totally off base on this, but the drive-in theater up in Dixon City, the Circle Drive-In this year, got a license and was actually showing Penn State football games, the night football games, on the giant screen. And I was able to get to that. And I want to tell you something. I came home and saw the next game on my TV set, and I don't have a little 21-inch anymore. I've got a fairly decent-sized screen, and I'm thinking, it's so tiny,
Yeah.
you know, compared to this gigantic big screen. Well, that's the difference between, I mean, that I'm just still talking about a screen, but being there live, there's just nothing like it.
Yes, there's nothing like being there live. It's one of those things that if you really enjoy the Christmas season, this is the best time to come out and kick it off. Santa is coming to town. We're bringing him here. We bring him here every year for you guys, and it's part of what we do here in this region. It's one of those things that we can be proud of. You come down, you see all these community groups, you see performers, they get you all geared up, and then Santa comes down the street. Everybody lights up. Who doesn't like Santa?
Yeah.
That's what you're coming down here for. It's the kickoff to the season, and we love it every year, and that's why we do it.
Now, you've got a couple organizations you can't talk about because you're still kind of dotting the I's and crossing the T's on those, but how about some of the organizations that we do know? How about some of the bands, for instance? And
We do have at least 4 high school marching bands that are going to be in the parade. Dave Ragnacci's school is going to be back. A lot of your twirling groups that you guys see every year, they've got brand new things to show you and brand new costumes, and it's one of those things that people come out to see them year after year to see what they've got new.
Yeah.
And these people come out and they work hard for months to come down here and show you what they've got on parade day. So let's come down and support them and see them.
Yeah.
We've got bands, we've got twirling groups, we've got walking groups, we've got candy that's going to be given out by a lot of people. We've got, I'm sure Knoebels is coming back. They play their Christmas music. The radio stations play their Christmas music as they're coming down to town. It is something that you want to see. It's one of those things that you just can't grasp all of it.
you usually got some singing groups as well that march along.
We do. We're going to have some stationary singing groups, and we're trying to get a couple of singing groups as we go through the parade. That's part of what we're gearing up toward. We've established a couple of floats that we can get them on, and we'll get those guys through the parade as well.
Now, I've already suggested it's really not really practical to get too much bigger. What are we talking about a line of march? Hour and a half, 2 hours?
It runs about 2 hours usually, depending on weather and depending on the final numbers of each group that's in each division, but it usually runs between 2 to 2.5 hours every year. And this year, I think that we're in upwards of 1,500 participants.
Wow. Now, again, although you're trying to phase out of the helium balloons and go to the cold air balloons, you said at the very beginning you still need volunteers. So even those balloons have to be kind of monitored, or?
Yes, and in fact, it's one of those things where we need just as many handlers for the cold air balloons as we do for the helium balloons.
Well, how many are you talking about?
We're anywhere between 20 and 40 people per balloon.
Per balloon?
Per balloon. It depends on the weight of the balloon. We put them on these big dollies, and they have to be pushed and pulled through the parade.
Yeah.
And it's just as much effort as holding the balloon down when it's helium. And it's a physical process.
Yeah, sure.
So we can use a whole lot of help. So if you want to help us carry a balloon, or if you want to carry one of the banners, or if you're looking for behind-the-scenes help, because we've got a lot of work that happens before the parade ever hits the street, and you're interested in being part of that, you can volunteer through our website, santaparade.net, or through Facebook / The Santa Parade, and find us there. In fact, our Facebook page has been getting a lot of traction these last few years.
It's a good communications device now. As a matter of fact, this show will be ultimately put up on YouTube, and then I'll take it and put it on my Facebook page.
And once it's up there, it'll wind up on our Facebook page as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You've had no problem getting the volunteers before, so hopefully you're going to be in good shape with that. But again, if you're interested, help out. And really, while it is a part of the work, it's also a big part of the fun.
It is part of the fun. And every year we say, if we just had a few more volunteers. So it's one of those things that we've always got space for you. So if you're interested in being part of this, then certainly get in touch with us.
Yeah, and of course you lose volunteers over the years too, and you've got to replace those that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So that, yeah, please consider that. You mentioned holding banners, not necessarily holding a balloon down, but maybe marching with a banner holding for a particular organization.
Each one of our sponsors, we recognize them in the parade by putting a banner out in front of the division or the group that they are sponsoring. So we need people to carry those through the parade. So you get to walk in a parade, you get to wave at people, everybody is happy. You get to be in a parade. So there's plenty of different things to do.
Obviously, the streets of the parade, marches on, will be sealed off. Doesn't hurt to get to town a little bit early.
Yes, the streets start to block off early in the morning. The parade kicks off at 9:15. So you're looking at 7 o'clock where a lot of the streets are starting to block off. There are still plenty of places to park in the parkades and along the streets in Scranton. So if you've been down before, you know where you go. A lot of people have their spots that they go to each year. But it does start to get a little bit difficult to move around by the time 8 o'clock rolls around.
So an early start doesn't hurt. Set up a nice where you want to bring, where they have your folding chairs or just blankets. And again, come prepared for the weather, whatever it is. Even if you got snow coming down, sometimes that really adds to the parade in some respects.
Oh, snow is actually great. As long as it's not a crushing amount of snow, we would really love to see some flurries. Flurries coming down when Santa's walking down the street.
Wouldn't hurt.
It would be awesome. And truly, we don't know what we're going to get. It's November. It could go either way.
Yeah, you take what you get either way. Well, Ty, thank you so much for coming to join us. Once again, the parade date and times.
It is November 23rd. Parade kicks off at 9:15. The broadcast from WNEP starts at 9:30. And it goes up the streets of Scranton, starting at the corner of Spruce and Franklin, up to Washington, and then around the square. Around the square is where you want to be. Bands, walking groups, musicians, singing groups, a lot of Christmas music, candy,
and that guy
of course,
at the end,
Santa. He's the big guy, and he stays at the square after the parade. So you're going to be able to come and see Santa and get pictures with him after the parade if you stick around.
Truly one of the highlights of the year for the city of Scranton, and so wherever you're watching this, try to make plans to come on down and enjoy it that day. Tom, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Glad to have you. Mark McGlory, thank you for your work behind the scenes. I'm David DeCosmo for ECTV Live. Till we see you again next time, here's hoping all your news is good.